like to thank you for your leadership and your partnership, specifically for working with my office to incorporate our language around workers and health and community safety. And I do believe that the amendment that I'm introducing now really does build upon that. I also asked to submit into the record a letter from several environmental groups expressing support for the amendment.
Without objection, such is the order.
A little over a month ago, this committee voted to reauthorize the North American Development Bank, a bank created to help mitigate the devastating environmental and sanitary consequences of the NAFTA agreement. I voted for reauthorization. I expressed support for the bank's underlying mission and the projects its financing makes possible. It is a grave injustice that the prioritization of industry's interests would produce the level of environmental destruction and chaos border communities are experiencing. I said then, and perhaps it is even truer today, environmental destruction cannot be the price we simply accept for a bit more economic activity. I know several of my colleagues feel similarly, and many have worked together to land in a good place around these environmental issues. It has been a lot of back and forth, and I want to thank my colleagues and their staffs for all their hard work on this. However, many concerns remain to be addressed, particularly around fossil fuel and extraction projects. Representatives Tlaib and Ocasio-Cortez, respectively, and I do want to say I plan to support Representative Tlaib's amendment because it's clear that the status quo is just simply not good enough. And I also want to acknowledge the amendments offered by Representative Ocasio-Cortez that are targeting these issues. I've always been concerned about the lack of accountability for this institution, particularly given the extent of harm of some of these EXIM finance projects, what they brought to communities. Representative Tlaib was referencing Mozambique earlier. So to that end, my amendment would simply require the bank's own environmental policies to mirror processes in the National Environmental Policy Act and the Endangered Species Act. There is no reason that EXIM as a public institution should be exempt from the standards we require of all other federal action agencies. Some may argue that it will be difficult to conduct these reviews, that the agency lacks the expertise necessary. However, EXIM can consult with other agencies like the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service or the National Marine Fisheries Service who do have this expertise. And if we don't know who to consult with in the places we are financing projects, we've got much bigger problems. These provisions are not unretractable obstacles. If they were, the federal government would have already come to a grinding halt. I urge my colleagues to support this amendment, and I yield back. Thank you.